Good evening, everyone. My name is Marong. This is Miguel, Matt, Marisa, and we're Transpo Team 6, and we worked on the Southeast Cooper Street project.
No.
Someone else? Oh, okay. This is our presentation outline. I'm going to go over project goals and stakeholders, and Miguel's going to go over project background, and Matt's going to go over alternative designs. Finally, Riza's going to go over our final design. So we took on a lot of roles for this project, but my main responsibility is project manager. Miguel is a community outreach coordinator. Matt is the QC manager, and Riza is the CAD manager. Our clients are Misa Long over there, and Jacob Sherman, who couldn't make it. They are both board members of the neighborhood association, the Brentwood Darlington Neighborhood Association, which is the neighborhood our site is located in. So this is a map that represents all our stakeholders. The red rectangle represents the residents of Cooper Street. There are 50 homes on our site, which includes a care facility on 66th Avenue. Then there's the city park, and there's 2 community labs, garden labs. There's the PSU Learning Garden Lab, and then there's the Brentwood Community Garden. And then there's 2 academic institutions. There's the Creative Minds Learning Center, which is preschool, and then Lanes Middle School. And then the Brentwood Darlington Community Center, which the Neighborhood Association meets at. And then there's a nonprofit youth organization and bike shop right here. And as you can see, these are all west of our site, so Cooper Street has the potential to be a perfect path to all these places. Another stakeholder that's really important is the City of Portland Bureau of Transportation, because they own our site, and after it's built to standards, they maintain it. So I'm going to hand it over to Miguel, who's going to go over the project background.
Thank you, Merle. Cooper Street is located in Brentwood Darlington neighborhood, which is in Southeast Portland, and it's highlighted by the red rectangle. And this map serves to show you guys as a reference to where our site is located in relative to the PSU campus, which is highlighted by the dark blue circle. As you can see here, this is what Merle mentioned earlier. There's a park right there. And here's one of the school institutions, which is located near Cooper Street. And here's the full length of Cooper Street, which is about 10 blocks in length, approximately half a mile long. And typically it takes a person 10 minutes to walk from 72nd to the park. Cooper Street has been serving as a route to school for all the students that live in the neighborhood. But there's no sidewalk throughout Cooper Street except for the one on 62nd and between 62nd and 63rd. But other than that, it's really unsafe for the students to use, as well as the pedestrians, cyclists, and disabled people. There's also limited parking. There's limited driveways. There's a few driveways that are located on Cooper Street, which serves as the only means of access for the residents who live there. There's also been speeding on this road as well, which we've been informed by one of the people who have a care facility running. His name is Constantine, and he informed us through a survey we did on the neighborhood. And also, but nonetheless, there's a desire within the community to see this road get improved, even though there's been failed attempts in the past. For example, to give you all an idea, there is a sewer line that was installed on Cooper Street at 66th. And the total cost came out to be about $1,800, but still that was too much of a high price for them to pay several years after the completion of the project. So our main objective is to have Cooper Street improved, first of all, and then we also want to develop a design for the street that would qualify for grants. And we want to make sure it qualifies for grants because we want to prevent having the cost be bestowed on the residents who live there. And we also want to accommodate the community desires, which is to make the passage between 72nd and the city safer. We also want to create more access with pedestrians, cyclists, and disabled people as well. And last but not least, we want to make it ADA compliant throughout the whole Cooper Street. So as you can see here, there's potholes throughout Cooper Street. This is just one block, but it's dotted throughout the whole road. So this makes it an attractive area for residents for persons in the neighborhood to dump pollutants on these potholes. They can range between roofing tiles, mattresses, and TVs. And all of this is what we get from talking to the residents who live on Cooper Street. On top of that, there's also a lack of drainage. So there's water that ponds throughout the whole year, even in the summer. And in the summer, that's when it gets worse because the water gives off a bad stench. So it forces residents to have their windows closed. And not only that, but also forces patients that are from the care facility to have their windows closed as well, which is really an inconvenience to all of them on a hot summer day. There's also gravel in a few blocks of Cooper Street, but the rest is mainly made of dirt. Even though it's all made of dirt, there's also been speeding happening between 72nd and City, in the park. And we got this information from talking with Constantine. Mostly teenagers racing their cars during the summer. And on top of that, there's also, when there's no wet days in the summer, all this dust goes up in the air and they force, again, the residents and the patients to have their windows closed. And there's some patients that have respiratory health problems. So this is really a bad health problem for them to endure on top of what they're already going through. There's also limited traffic signage. So if you were to go drive from 72nd to the park, you would only come across a few stop signs. And there's no other traffic signs whatsoever, aside just from stop signs. There's also poor lighting throughout Cooper Street. There's no illumination whatsoever. So users really can't use this road during the night. It's really unsafe for them. There's also, obviously there's no sidewalks on both sides of Cooper Street. So this is really concerning for the people with disability especially, because they have a hard time traversing from Cooper Street just to get to the paved road. And again, this information is what we got from Constantine as well. And this is only due to the fact that the driveway for the care facility is only located on Cooper Street. So as a result, we came up with a few alternative designs, which Matt will talk to you about.
Thank you, Miguel. As you can see here, we have 4 different alternative designs that we came up with. Our initial alternative design, alternative A, was the alternating block with paved road and 1 sidewalk. Essentially what an alternating block is a barrier placed every other intersection to allow local traffic access to the residents while limiting traffic flow. The idea was if we improved Cooper Street and we paved the road, we would increase traffic flow. So we wanted to decrease that with an alternating blocks design. Alternative B, alternating block with paved road and no sidewalk, is essentially the same design without a sidewalk. The benefit to this is no sidewalk would be less material, reduce the cost of the design. The downside to that would be no sidewalk, no designated area for the pedestrians to walk, although they would still have access through the paved section. Alternative C was a standard street design with 2 sidewalks, which is a typical Portland City street design. Essentially, it allows through traffic all the way from 62nd to 72nd Avenue. The downside to that is if we improve the road, the potential for increased traffic volume would be less safe for pedestrians and cyclists. And then alternative D is a no build, which is always an option to design if you can't allocate the funds or come up with a design that's feasible. So this is a street view of our alternative A blocks design. The right-of-way of Cooper Street is approximately 50 feet. The sidewalk on this design is 13 feet, and then the pavement's 37 feet to be shared between cyclists and motor vehicles, and then the pedestrians have the designated sidewalk area. From the west-facing view, you can see that those are barriers, and the barriers may vary depending on cost, aesthetics, or community preference. So here we have flower pots, but there could be bollards, or it could be planters, or some other design to the main idea is to limit traffic flow through that area. Again, this is the alternative blocks design, this time without the sidewalk, again reducing the cost. The total pavement design would be for 49 feet to be shared with motor vehicles and cyclists. And again, the bollards or barriers to still allow access to cyclists. This allows, the previous design had curb and gutter. This design has drainage ditches just to deal with the drainage. May not be the most ideal solution to the problem, but it's part of the negatives of this design. This is your typical standard Portland City or standard neighborhood street design with two sidewalk on the north and south side of the street. 27 feet of allotment for the pavement, and then it also has curb and gutter. In this design, you can see there's no barriers in between facing on the west view of the street design. And then there's always alternative for no build. And as you can see here, this isn't the most desired result. In speaking with a lot of the community members and conducting a survey, we found out everyone wants something to be done. I mean, cost and feasibility are one thing, but just to improve the road in one way or another would be ideal, especially with drainage. Drainage seems to be a significant issue to be able to traverse Cooper Street. It's very limited with bikes or cars during certain times of the year. So this is our Q matrix. We use this to categorize some of our selection criteria to be able to come up with what we believed at the time to be the best design. So we use cost, which is the financial feasibility of the design, safety, which is the physical well-being of the general public, pedestrian, cyclist, and driver preference, which was something that we thought that for those modes of transportation would be a desirable aspect of the design. The allocation of funding, as Miguel was speaking about grants and other ways to be able to afford the project, we had to keep that in mind with our designs. The innovation, the uniqueness of the design, the feasibility and practicality, aesthetics, the visual appeal, and then emergency access, which is essentially the ability to accommodate emergency vehicles. We weighted all of those on a score with priorities 1 to 5. As you can see here, safety was the highest priority. Just like in any design, the safety should be the most prioritized. Cost was next, and then our innovation was also highly prioritized due to the fact that we would need that to achieve funding. The rest of the scale was on a score of 0 to 10, least ideal to most ideal. From that, we scored alternative A, which was the one sidewalk alternating blocks design, as our highest. However, we did not select that. Late in the game, we found a different final design, which Risa will now talk to you about and explain why we chose it.
Thank you, Matt. Like Matt said, we didn't choose alternative A. After we did our alternative analysis, we started to think about how our design was going to affect the residents that live on Cooper Street. And we realized that the bollard that we would have for alternative A was going to restrict access to homeowners on Cooper Street, and it will also restrict access to emergency vehicles going down Cooper Street. So our selected design will provide access for residents and emergency vehicles from all directions. It is innovative, eco-friendly, and incorporates all aspects of the selection criterion. For our proposed design ideas, we used some reference drawings from the San Francisco Planning Department. This is an extruded intersection. Some benefits of this intersection is that it slows down traffic, creates green spaces that provide on-site stormwater drainage, and it provides Cooper Street with appealing aesthetics. However, Cooper Street does not have the capacity to have all these qualities, so we'll pick bits and pieces and we'll make our own intersection. For our proposed design ideas for our blocks, we're going to have the combination of the green block and meandering curb. We really like the meandering curb because it reduces traffic. This is our final design. I made this using Civil 3D, and all the design is made to PBOT standards. The north side of Cooper Street has a sidewalk and is connected with a ADA compliant ramp. As you can see, the crosswalk is slightly shorter, which provides the pedestrians to walk a shorter distance, which makes less time on the street, which creates a safer environment for the pedestrian. The extruded curb also lets the drivers see the pedestrians, so they're more visible to drivers who are turning left or right. And the south side of Cooper Street are just planters, and both planters have local shrubs and trees planted. Some features of Cooper Street include some street striping, like sharrows, which are these little icons, and they surprise, they allow the cyclists and the vehicles to know that they're sharing the roads together. There'll also be some street signage such as stop signs, speed signs, no parking signs, because Cooper Street with this design will not have parking on the sides. And it will have new street signs because some of the street signs are kind of damaged. And since if there's a lot of water buildup in our stormwater planters, they will go to these little inlets that will go to the stormwater sewers. For our block design, we will have a meandering shaped curb. The shape will encourage drivers to slightly turn after each block, and it will prevent drivers from cutting through Cooper Street and reduce the speeding of the drivers. This block will be repeated throughout Cooper Street, so every block will look like this. There's a little driveway here to show that the reason why we didn't choose alternative A was to eliminate the bollards and blocking the access for residents that use Cooper Street to go in and out of their property. So they will go left or right and will not be restricted. Some plant species we will have in our green spaces will be local shrubs such as low sedge, bleeding heart, and bird lady. All three are low maintenance, fast growing, and sustainable, which means they will last all year long. Some local trees we'll have is chokecherry and socova. They're wide spanning, which will provide shading for residents walking through Cooper Street to the park or to their home. And they are also fast growing. Some conclusions for this project: we really want to increase safety, improve road condition, decrease traffic volume, reduce speeding, improve aesthetic and drainage on Cooper Street.
And because we're running out of time, we just want to give at least a special thank you to Lisa Long, our client, and Jason Shepard from PBOT, who helped us guide our engineering judgment. Without all these people, we wouldn't have been able to do this project. Any questions?
For your final design, the sidewalk obviously is paved, but is the road also?
Yes.
And so
It's made to PBOT standard.
and that would be PBOT would be maintaining.
Yeah.
You should.
You sure? You don't have any money?
Sorry. No, I want to compliment you on your line work. It's really
Thank
nice.
you. Okay, thank you.